Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to explain you about another topic from KSET exam, that is communication. So in the previous video, I have explained teaching aptitude, okay, and research aptitude. All the topics I have covered, and also I have solved some of the previous year questions for teaching aptitude and research aptitude. You can watch those videos. And next I am going to cover here communication. Comprehension is just they are going to provide a text and you should read it, you should solve the question. So here the unit 4, that is communication, today's topic. So first you need to understand what are the topics are there in communication. And one more thing, whatever the syllabus I am covering, this is not only helpful for the KSET exam preparation, but also for UGC net exam, because syllabus is same. General paper syllabus is same for UGC net as well as KSET exam. So the aspirants, those who are preparing for both, it will be helpful for this GK paper. So today let us discuss about the topics from communication. First one, what is communication, meaning, types, characteristics of communication. You have to understand. And then effective communication, verbal or non-verbal, intercultural, group communication, classroom communication. So next comes barriers to effective communication, mass media and society. So these all are the topics comes under communication. So let us discuss here. Unit 4, communication. So first I try to explain meaning, types and characteristics of communication. Next, what are the effective communication, barriers, and then mass media. So first we need to define communication. What is communication? So communication is the method to express and deliver any message or data to another person. The communication will be flourishing only if the information sent by the individual is given to others and understood as it is meant to. So communication is nothing but a way of expressing or delivering any message or data to another person. So that will be successful when the receiver understand whatever the message has been sent by the sender. So according to Brain Tracy, communication is a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you are willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. Exactly. So communication plays very important role in our day-to-day life. If that communication is effective, then you can improve the quality of your part of life. And it is like a bicycle or typing. You continuously have to work on that. Significance of communication, which can be described as for working smoothly, based on decision making, to improve cooperation and organizational peace, based on coordination, improve managerial efficiency. These all are the significance which we can describe here. If the receiver is analyzed to get the message or comprehend the information in a separate way from the actual meaning, then the communication is going to be unsuccessful. Because if communication is must be successful, then receiver whatever he as analyzed, he has to convey or comprehend the receiver, then only it is meaningful. So that means there is something lacking in the communication. The reason which makes interruptions are called communication barriers. Okay, so we can discuss about them later. So first we should know characteristics of communication. Two or more persons are required. If if you are communicating with somebody, so at least the receiver and the sender both are required here. So two or more persons are required for communication. Minimum at least two person need sender of the message and the receiver. Exchange of ideas. So you need to exchange your ideas while communicating. Dealing of ideas, information, feelings among two or more persons. Mutual understanding. There must be a understanding between any of the two persons that are communicating. So receiver should obtain the information in the exact manner with which it is being given. Continuous process. Communication is a continuous process. You need to keep on working. As we have discussed, it is like riding a bicycle or typing. It never quits. So use of words as well as symbols, very important. The words or the symbols that you are using to communicate with other is very important. That are going to affect your communication. Numerous means of communication like oral, the written or symbolic. So these all are characteristics of communication. First one, two or more person required, exchange of ideas, mutual understanding, continuous process, use of words as well as symbols. Effective communication. Communication is not an ending in itself. Instead, it is a mechanism to achieve other ends or ideas. What are the factors that depend how the communication is going to be effective, which can be discussed here? First thing is fidelity of communication. The distortion-free grade of message is stated as fidelity. There should not be any disturbance or distortion when you are conveying your message. That is called fidelity. An effective person conveys the message across the other with minimal chance of misinterpretation. Second one, economy. Ineffective communication, a minimum of energy, time, symbols, cues are operated to encode a message without failing its fidelity and impact. So at least minimum sufficient time you should give with the required symbols or the messages that you need to encode. Congruence. Effective communication combines both verbal and non-verbal cues. You should include the both verbal and non-verbal cues, then only it will be effective. Influence. The most significant measure of effectiveness is the impact that the communicator is able to exert over the receiver of the communication. Influence means the communicator completes the result he planned. Next comes relationship building. Effective communication denotes to the establishment of trust, more profitable connection between the source and the target. You can, if you are effective in your communication, then you can build a relationship with the other communities. These all are the way of carrying the effective communication: fidelity, economy, congruence, influence, relationship building. So 7 C's of effective communication. So the first one, clear. Second one, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, courteous. These all are the 7 C's for effective communication. Clear, first one is clear. Making a clear objective, usage of simple words and phrases. Whatever the message you are delivering or conveying, that must be making clear objectives and simple words with simple words and phrases. Concise. It should not be too long. It must be clear and to the point. Avoid the usage of filter words and sentences. Use the least possible words to deliver message without foregoing for the other C's communication. So it must be not like messy. It must be clear and to the point. Unnecessary words or the sentences you should avoid. Concrete. The message should be specific. Always support your message. Use facts and figures. So to make it impressive, use facts or figures, and that's what we call concrete. Correct. The message should be precise, accurate, and well timed, and it should be error free. Right level of language, facts and figures correctly. The message you are delivering should not be like the wrong message. It should be a correct and authentic message you should give to the receiver. Coherent message should make sense and should be logical. In one direction it should go. You should not divert the people. Complete message can cover everything. Contain call to action. That whatever the message you are giving, that must be sufficient for the receiver what he was expecting. Facts and information needed by audience. Courteous. Being well mannered builds goodwill and ensure the message is diplomatic. The sender should be openly polite, reflective, through friendly and passionate about that. So this is the courteous. So these all are the 7 C's for effective communication. So what makes the barrier or the before that communication process? How it exactly go on? So first is the sender. Sender is the person who shares the message. The message may be any kind of thought, ideas, symbol, picture, report, order, and postures and gestures. Even a momentary smile. The sender is the developer of the message. So the first part of the communication process is sender. Next is the message. What you want to actually convey, what message you want to say, what are the feelings that you want to share. So message, it is the information the sender out to bring to the receiver. The data transformed by words such as speech, write-ups, pictures, signs, symbols are relying upon the circumstances. So the second component is message. Next, encoding. Encoding means converting the message into a proper medium which may be verbal or non-verbal based upon situation. So the next important component is the encoding the message what you want to say to the receiver, either it may be verbal or non-verbal. Space, time, nature of the message to be transmitted to the planned receiver. The sender encodes the message into a string of words, symbols, or pictures. So the next important component is media. Media guides to channel or medium through which the message is shared. Uh, written or oral, it may be conveyed through computer, telephone, cell phone, apps, television. So, if everything is ready, there must be a supplementary component is required, or that is supporting for the communication. Media plays very important role here. Either it may be a computer, telephone, cell phone, apps, or television. The next component or the very important part of the communication is the receiver. If the receiver is there, then only the conveyed message or the communication is successful. Receiver is person, group of person who is accepting the message. The other end of it is another end of the method. So we starts with sender and then it finally ends up with receiver. He may be anyone listener, viewer, or reader. Whatever the message the sender is conveying, he may be listening, receiver, or reading, or viewing, or writing. So he has to decode the message sent in the best feasible method such as the real purpose of the communication is achieved. Last one, decoding. Decoding directs to cracking or understanding the sent message. The receiver decodes the message and tries to comprehend it in the best feasible manner. After that, the received message from the receiver is going to be decoded, uh, tries to comprehend it in the best feasible manner. Then, feedback. At the end, finally, overall, the communication is fruitful or not, that is going to be given by the feedback. It is the reply provided by the receiver after reading the message. It is essential to confirm that message has been accurately decoded, understood the way it was sent. So these all are the components of a communication process for sender, message, encoding, media, receiver, decoding, and feedback. So overall, the procedure of communication can be described as sender has an idea or information to send. The sender encodes the idea in words, symbols for sending. The sender sends the message via through medium or channel, and the receiver accepts the message and decodes it for understanding. The receiver transmits feedback to the sender for better communication. So next comes what are the barriers in communication? What makes the communication disturbed? So types of communication barriers. Different reasons which drive unsuccessful communication or stop understanding the authentic meaning of the information, which are known as communication barriers. So something is lacking, so that the message is not delivered properly. That's what we call communication barrier. The hardship of successful delivering the information is classified in different communication barriers based on diverse aspects. So the types of communication barriers are as follows. First one, semantic barrier, language barrier, organizational barrier, interpersonal barrier, individual barrier, physical barrier, psychological barrier, and technical barriers. If the receiver is not reaching the same sense of the information that the sender wants to produce, it is due to one of above type of the communication barriers. Let us discuss first one, semantic barrier. It is established on the same word having various meanings to various people. The hardship occur when the different people presume the different meaning of exact information or words is called semantic barrier. Actually, if you are delivering any message or information, that must have the same idea whoever is delivering. If there will be a difference between the message, uh, then the message that has been conveyed or understood will be in different meaning for different people. They assume that the conveyed message is authentic according to one person, and another person understand in different way. He thinks that that is correct. So that is what we call the same words having the same various meaning. That is not possible. That makes the communication barrier here. So semantic barrier generates due to identical words with a different meaning. Wrong hypothesis means someone has understood something wrong about the concept and he thinks that that is uh, correct. So technical language, distinct cultures, these all are making the semantic barriers. Language barrier, obviously. So especially in India, if you observe in different parts of the country speak different languages by the people, so that makes a little bit communication barrier. So if some common language is there throughout the country, then the people can communicate easily. So different languages, vocabulary, accent illustrate the language communication barrier. Benefit of challenging or inappropriate words, technical jargon, badly presented or misunderstood message can be confuse the communication process. So obviously language is the way we can convey our ideas or thoughts. Organizational barrier. See, if you are organizing any event or the function, then organization plays very important role for communication. The status of management or management policy is the basis of organizational barrier. Type of barrier occur due to void between staff members, management in terms of communication policies or authority. So there must be a coordination between all the members of organization, which contains the following organizational barrier. Organizational rules regulation may be different. Cooperation between superior and superintendent may not be there. Organization culture is different. Status and layers. Interpersonal barrier. So the possibilities of miscommunication occurred when there are discrepancies in education, society, economic status between both sender and receiver. So that's what we call interpersonal barrier. So the sender or the receiver may suffering from all these kind of discrepancies, education, society, or economic status. From due to the values kept in relationships and attitude of the participant in the operation of the communication also creates the barrier. Individual barrier. So it all depends upon the psychological, psychosociological thing it is. It is also comprehended as psychosociological barrier. These barriers contains difference in personality, stereotyping in attention, differences in individual competencies to assume and act, which can also include psychological disorders or handicaps. So, due to the various personalities of sender and receiver in the communication method, the wrong message is diagnosed. because the sender has the different personality, receiver, those personalities should not collapse. So then, if it is there, then barrier is created. Physical barrier. Most appeared barrier is communication due to natural and environmental conditions. Physical barrier contains possibilities like noise, hearing problems, speech difficulties, closed doors, defective equipment. So nature or the environment also plays important role. Geographical distance may cause the physical barrier. It is always comfortable to convey the message to a person over a short distance than for a long distance. But even though we can achieve by using technology, that must be sufficient enough for large distance. Psychological barriers. Communication is affected due to psychological conditions on of the communicators. Contains emotions, poor retention, lack of attention, different opinion, perceptions. These all are related to psychology. Technological barriers. As the as we know, the connectivity, internet connection, or the Wi-Fi, whatever it may be, the network uh, problem is there, then that will create a barrier. Trouble during communication happens due to technical mistakes, network problem, coding error, or defect in electronic equipment, which are the primary reason for this type of barrier. So if it is there, one cannot communicate over the phone if there is any fault in the phone, uh, or if the appropriate network is not available. Some many of the people nowadays, everyone is on phone. So if you are not able to communicate to another person, there will be a network issue. So how to control communication barrier? So there are some ways to control that barrier. Appropriate alerts during communication can avoid barriers in communication. Make sure that medium of communication is well known. All the electronic tools are functioning. So the medium, the language, or the electronic devices that you are using must be properly functioning. First, you should make sure. Then receiver and the sender should keep reviewing the message if they are getting or producing it right. Both receiver, whether he or she is conveying rightly, or the uh, sender, he or she is conveying rightly, or receiver, whether he is getting things or not. That is also you should check. Sender should ask the question or the queries like why, where, who, how he is producing to communicate. Other and receiver should also ask for clarification, prominence if required. So both must be active participants here, sender and receiver. The member having in communication should convey their feeling, opinion during the communication strategy to avoid barriers. So these all are the way to control communication barriers. So overall, we can conclude that communication gets people together, close to each other. It is a significant management function associated with all other managerial roles. It bridges the it is the bridge between individual and group through the flow of knowledge, experience between them. So communication bridges the knowledge between the people around the world. So communication plays very important role. So first we should try to understand the meaning of communication. What are the characteristics of communication? Uh, what are the factors that affect communication? What are the barriers in communication? How we can control or overcome those barriers. So this is all about the today's topic communication, and I have solved here some of the previous year questions from communication so that you can understand clearly the today's topic. So the first question is decoding is associated with whatever you have studied in the previous topic. You are going to solve these questions once you understand properly. So decoding is associated with message sender, message receiver, both of the above or none of the above. Message receiver. Decoding always associated with receiver. Encoding associated with sender. So option B is correct. The biggest obstacle in the way of communication in a class is once you read all these options, excess of noise in a class, vagues about the content of teacher, the noise cut out of class, other related obstacles lack in teaching aid material. So first one, excess of noise in a class. An effective communication produces in receiver happiness, acceptance, it's access to other people thinking. Option B, acceptance. Which of the following group is not making a communication process defective in a classroom? Reversing, evaluating, focusing. These three parameters are there. They must be ordered like evaluating, eliciting, and exaggerating. So among four options, this one is correct. Which of the following is not matched with the nature of communication? Directional, feedback, dynamic, passive. So this passive process is not matched. In which of the following situation the student can interact to one another in more liberal free environment? In discussions within the small group by using film projector, TV, experts lecture. So option 8, in discussing within the small group. When you are unable to follow foreigners language, the communication of message will be carried out through speaking loudly, symbolic language, learning his language, can't say. B, symbolic language. Which of the following statement is essential for communicating a research work? Process, mastery, statement of aim, B and C. Mastery over the language and statement of aim. Both are correct. The effective communication will be taking place if the source is attractive, autocratic, the message is designed according to the listener, latest technological communication has been employed, receiver is passive to receive the message. Option B, the message is designed according to the listeners. The main limits of mass communication is it is very costly for receiver, it takes much time in message production, its success depends on message producer, the feedback system is in a poor state. Option D. The basic elements of communication are the source and the receiver, the message and the receiver, the source and the channel, all of the above. Option A. The advantage of feedback in the process of communication is it clarifies the communication, it is beneficial in understanding, it diagnoses the defects in message, sender or communicator, it explores the defects in receiver. So option A, it clarifies the communication. The barriers in communication can overcome if the listener has all the desirable competencies, listener is in a state of motivator, has some extra incentives. All above are correct. Communication is a process which is going on between source and the receiver, condition of exchange of ideas, method of transfer of ideas, all are correct. In an excellent communication, it is not desired. First one, change in voice, external or physical beauty, communication of adequate feelings, involvement of students. So, in an excellent communication, it is not desired that involvement of students. Communication is possible. Option between two animals of the same species, between a living organisms and machines, between an individual and a group. So, or in all the above situation, yes. In all the above situation, the communication will happen. Non-verbal communication is possible through speech, symbols, eyes, sense of touch, all of the above. Eyes, non-verbal. The types of communication are two, verbal and non-verbal. The barrier of communication can be categorized as physical barrier, language, psychological, all the above. Barrier of communication can be eliminated when it is simple, comprehensible, associated with feedback, following the rules of excellent listening, all the above. Biggest barrier of the communication is noise, person, language, previous experience, noise. What is the essential step of effective communication? Selection of channel for communication. Think about the evaluation procedure, determining the objectives, identifying various medium of selection of the channel for communication. Verbal communication completes through verbal medium, symbolic, lips medium, bodily organs medium. See, lips medium. Work of messenger is to develop a message, encode the message, transmit the message, all the above. The messages are changed into symbols through the process. Encoding, decoding, sign language, none of the above. Encoding. The word communication is derived from communis, communic, communal, communis. So these all are the previous year UGC NET or the KSET exam questions which are helpful for you to solve the questions in the exam. So these all are related to the topics that I have explained from today's topic communication according to the given syllabus. I hope this information is helpful for the preparation of exam and please do subscribe my channel for upcoming videos.